This podcast is hosted and sponsored by eXp Realty and Mike Nelson, Integrity Home Group.
Hey everyone, we're back today with another fantastic video podcast with a gentleman that I extremely admire. I have a ton of respect for. Really only met him maybe three or 4 years ago. 5 years ago. I don't know, as you get older, time kind of flies by. This gentleman brings a military background. He currently serves today. Actually just got back from a deployment. You guys know my background around the military as well from some of the past videos and conversations. This guy is one of the most give you the shirt off his back kind of guys. He's the most helpful, friendly guy that will just answer any and all your questions. I'm going to encourage you to reach out to him after these videos. We'll put it on his page and everything. But enough said about that. Mark Solomon, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm good, brother. Thanks for having me on today. I appreciate it. It's awesome to be here.
Absolutely. And by the way, we're going to get out of him because it's natural to him because he's a funny dude. So we're going to get some comedy rolling on here today.
It's face for radio. That's all I got going. So that's
it. Right on. So Mark, give me a little bit about your background. I mean, I know it, but let's tell kind of the folks what's that look like.
So I got into real estate back in 2005. I moved a number of places for civilian employment, just different jobs in the tech industry, basically right out of college, and thought, you know what, I can do this. So 2005, I lived in Minnesota at the time, and so I got my license there, did it part-time, ended up about a year later moving down to Kansas City, and didn't really get my license down there, ended up deploying. So I was in the Navy. I got in 2004, direct commission officer into the Navy Reserves. So I've been in the reserves the entire time, but I got deployed to Iraq in 2007. So moved to Kansas City in 2006, deployed in 2007, came back in 2008. And then basically at that point I was like, you know what, I've got a little bit of time here. I was on my terminal leave from the active duty, going back into the reserves, and I thought I just used that month that I had and took my real estate class, got my license in Missouri. Then an opportunity came up to run a defense contract out of Leavenworth. It was only about 25 minutes from my house there. So Kansas City is kind of right on the border, Missouri and Kansas, and Leavenworth is right there. So took a job with a defense contracting company. I was actually the deputy program manager for BAE Systems. I ran $500 million worth of contracts for them in Leavenworth. So I had 150 employees and did that for a number of years. And then in 2012, towards the end of 2012, the contract was awarded to a lower bidder, which happens in defense contracting. So I decided, at that point I was making six figures. And side note to that, for folks that are watching, it's like, they're always like, well, how much do people really make? So I was making six figures in the private world. I had been in corporate America for, what would it have been, like 12, 13-ish years at that point, something like that. I don't remember the math exactly. And I had just started making six figures. Like I was making $100,009. Okay. So like I had just crossed over and I was like, awesome. Right. And I'm a family of, like, I'm an immigrant. My parents came over as well. And so we're a family of immigrants. We grew up dirt poor. My parents put themselves through school, worked their way up through, to become basically what I call upper middle class. So they worked their rear ends off. My dad became a certified public accountant for the state of Iowa. My mom became a registered nurse. So from my dad working in a factory to them becoming a certified public accountant for the state of Iowa. So they coming with no skills really, and then, working their way up. So here their kid is making $100,000, and that's, they've never seen money like that before, right? And they were doing really well at that point, but still I was doing great. So the contract got awarded to a lower bidder. I looked at my wife and said, what better time to go from six figures to zero than right now? And so she gave me that look, and I'm like, yeah, trust me, it'll work. So beginning of 2000, it was December 2012. So I say 2013, jumped into real estate full time. And my first year in real estate, I think I made 30 or 40 grand because I was just sitting there waiting for the phone to ring, right?
Yeah. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it doesn't work, by the way. It's also how I tried to get through college. I did osmosis, where you put the calculus book by your head and you sleep.
You slept 2 to 3 hours a night after partying.
Hoping that it would just, and so it doesn't work in real estate either. So I eventually learned my lesson. So, 2013, made about 30, 40 grand, like I said. The problem was I was still living a six-figure lifestyle. Yeah. So I borrowed money out of 401ks to make up the difference, right? $60,000+. Then 2014 rolled around, and I'm like, okay, did the same thing because I'm not smart. Okay. So made about 30, 40 grand, borrowed the rest of a 401k, basically like drained it out. So I drained 2 401ks in this process. And then about the end of 2014, it was about October, after having to drain the second 401k, my wife looks at me and she gave me that look that only a spouse can give, right? Which is that you better get to work or get a real job. It also came with like some daggers behind it. So I decided, that I should probably get to work. So I needed some good accountability at my office at the time. So I had some folks in leadership that would literally, if I was talking, because if you can't tell already, I like to talk, they would see me talking in the hallway with another agent or something like that. They'd grab me by the arm in the middle of that conversation, grab me back to my office, sit me down and say, how many calls have you made today? And they would just constantly do that. And then on weekends, I did open houses. I did 6 a weekend. So 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday. So that was October-ish of 2014. And anytime I tell people that, they're like, you did 6 open houses? Whoa, that's a lot, right? And I'm like, yeah, 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday. That's 8 total hours of work a day. Right? And I'm sitting there talking to people like it's just, they're coming in and I'm saying, hi, how are you? And whatever. That's not work. Come on. Right. So at the time it seemed like work, but anyway, so I did that by May of 2015. So October, November, December, it was 7 days a week. The only weekend I didn't do open houses was my reserve weekend. So when I was doing Navy stuff. Otherwise, it was 7 days a week, all the way through the holidays and all that. Well, by May of 2015, I had made 6 figures in gross commission income. So what took me, 12, 13, 14 years in corporate America, it took me basically 6, 7 months once I started working, right? In real estate. So made 6 figures, hired my first administrative assistant. That was May, I made the money, hired my first administrative assistant in August, added a team member that next year in February, March-ish, and then kind of never looked back. So we were on average, so I formed a team basically, kept growing that. We were doubling our business every year. We were selling on average about a house every 3 to 4 days. And this is in the Kansas City market. So doing great. And then in that process around 2016, 15, 16, some buddies came up to me and they said, hey, we need some help with some real estate stuff. We're looking at starting a charity that's going to be helping veterans. Like, okay, we can do that. So I started looking. Well, then I realized that these guys had all been in nonprofit for a long time, which I had volunteered, but just not worked in. I'd been in corporate America and then running my own business. And they needed a lot of connections and didn't know how to do business stuff. So I became that connector, which is what a lot of good realtors do. They have those connections, right? We found a guy who would write our 501c3 submission to the IRS. We found another guy who started basically had a COO business where he would be an outsourced COO, so he could, or CFO, and he would manage our books. So as we started this charity, we had an outside agency managing our finances from the very beginning, even when we didn't have any money. And then eventually grew that. So what we are doing is housing homeless veterans in tiny houses. We started in Kansas City. We've got 49 tiny houses and a 5,000 square foot community center there. And around 2018, 2019, the city of Longmont had come to visit us in Kansas City and realized they wanted to partner with us to help end veteran homelessness out here in northern Colorado. And so we agreed to come out, and I agreed to move the family out. Part of that was because my wife had always wanted to live here and I wanted to stay married. So I said, yes, dear, let's move. And so we moved out here in 2019, basically, and started the charity. I expanded my real estate team as well out here. And one thing I want to add to that one is website right here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hit him up, vcp.org. We'll get into that here in a little bit, but yeah.
But I want to say that one of the things that real estate allowed me to do, so going from borrowing from 401ks and not making any money, fast forward, that was, like I said, 13, 14, and then started making money in 15. Well, fast forward to 2019, in January, we agreed to partner with the city of Longmont on my own dime. I'm flying out every Wednesday from Kansas City to Denver and then renting a car and staying in a hotel all on my own dime. And then I fly back to Kansas City on Friday. First off, who has a schedule like that where you can just leave your job for 3 days at a time every week, right? Who has the income where you can just take a trip, right? And do that kind of stuff other than attorneys. And so no bash on attorneys, my sister's one. And so, it's one of those things where real estate has allowed me to do not only help a ton of people in real estate, hundreds and hundreds of people. On top of that, it's allowed me to follow my passions, which is in this case, we're working to end veteran homelessness around the country. And so all of these things kind of came together, started out here. And then, so that's where, you and I got to know each other, obviously in summer of 2019, when I moved out here. The pandemic hit shortly thereafter. And then towards the end of 2020, I ended up deploying. My time came back. The Navy looked and said, hey, you haven't been any place warm to work on your tan in a long time. So instead of Iraq, we're going to send you to Africa this time. So I just came back from a year in Africa just a few months ago. So that is the gist of everything. And so now I work on a different team. I rolled my team up into another team when I deployed. So now I kind of bring agents on for them. I still do some selling. I have some repeat clients, which is awesome. It's a referral-based business. Before I left, 92% of my business was referral-based. So my phone would ring and I just go on listing appointments and all that. It takes a little bit to build, but I got to tell you, it is the right way to do your business. Treat people right. My people invented karma, so we have to treat people right. And so, just do that for all the people that it isn't your people's thing. If it's not, naturally make it your thing. And just treat people right, and that business will come, and you will grow a really successful business. And that's whatever you want to sell. Like I said, we were selling a house every 3 or 4 days. I'm on a team now, by the way, that sells about 2 houses every single day. The Edie Waters Network, and 7 days a week. 2 houses every day, 7 days a week, basically is the average. And then they actually joined another expansion team called Lucido Global, and those guys sell 3,000 plus houses. I can't even do the math on how many that is a day. And so failed out of engineering school. So just know that, it doesn't take a long time to change your fortune in real estate. The beauty of this is the flexibility. Don't live the realtor lifestyle before you have the realtor paycheck. That's going to be one big piece of advice I give people. Once you start getting those realtor paychecks, they'll reinvest them into your business, set that up the way you want it. And then, like I said, it's like pay it forward. I don't like to give back because that means I took something, but man, the community has been really supportive of me, not only here in Colorado, but in Kansas City. And my thing is, man, pay it forward, right? Just help the next person, whether that's coaching, training, mentoring a new agent who doesn't know what they're doing yet, to all the way to help house homeless people. So
awesome. So give me a little bit, just a couple minutes worth of, I think a lot, I will say military is pretty disciplined, right? And, we all went through it and we all disciplined, but we all slack in some capacity at some point in time later down the road, right? You're like, yeah, cool. Been there, done that, right? Rodeo. So how did you snap back out of it? What did you kind of learn from it when you went from, hey, I'm kind of responsible in this Leavenworth kind of job, and there's some management, and I see a lot of parallels is what I should say. And the parallels is I want to be my own boss, right? As real estate agents come into this. And I think a lot of times we're honestly our worst boss. So maybe kind of tie that together a little bit and what you experienced.
Yeah, so even as a military guy, so I actually served in the real military, not like you in the Air Force. That doesn't count.
I mean, the Air Force is a little bit smarter, so we'll
yes, absolutely. I'm jealous. #jealous. As an officer, right? That's my particular gig as an officer. So definitely not that smart. But being in charge of people and leading, that's my thing. It's not management, it's leadership for me, and that's important. So I'm kind of a fan and a studier of leadership. Okay. Tasking, getting people done. I can order people if I have to get tasks done. But what I've always said is if I ever have to order somebody to do something, I'm a bad leader, right? And so, you just do stuff like, hey, they tell you to do stuff. You just got to go do it so you get it done. And we have that mindset when we're working for somebody else. When somebody's paying you $15 an hour to make cups of coffee all day, right? Or $20 an hour to make cups of coffee, or stock the produce shelves at the grocery store, which I have done in the past. So, all those things, you'll show up on time. You'll come in at 8, you'll leave at 5, you'll take an hour-long lunch, you'll work night shift, whatever it is, you will be there though, because you know that paycheck is tied to that. When we get into business for ourselves, and I suffered from it, as I mentioned, that my wife gave me that look right after a couple of years. We just feel like, we'll just, come in at 10, get some coffee, talk to a bunch of people, complain about that other agent who's not doing their job right. Even though we don't have anything to complain about because we don't have any business. Then it's lunchtime, so you got to go meet somebody for lunch, right? Get somebody who will meet you. Then you go back to the office, you complain a little bit more about something, who knows what it is, drink another cup of coffee or 3. And then it's 3 o'clock, you're like, well, I guess I'll go home. And that's your day, right? You haven't done anything. There's that lack of sort of accountability that comes with working for yourself. So what I've found, and what's really been helpful, the snapping back out of it, truthfully, is accountability, brother. So having people that either you compete with. So when I first moved out here, it was looking at your numbers and going, I can beat that, right? I never did, by the way, so good job. Because I didn't try that hard, that's why. Otherwise I would have.
I didn't antagonize you enough.
If I hadn't gone to defend your freedom to sell real estate. But, just having that group accountability, having people like you around, good friends, people, they're not mean to you. It's not that. It is just, it's like going to the gym and working out. You can go to the gym and work out. You say you will, but if you have a buddy who's meeting you there at 6 a.m, you're not skipping that, right? Because your friend's going to call you, or you don't want to look disappointed, or you pay for a trainer. You're already paying for the gym membership. Now you pay for a trainer, and you will show up because you're shelling out the dollar. So for me, it was really about accountability. I would rather talk to people all day long and just do that. And that can be helpful in real estate. It's not a requirement, by the way. That helps me grow my business, yet it had to be disciplined. Mm-hmm. When do I talk to people? How do I talk to people? What am I talking to them about? Then when I'm done with all of the work part of my day, the lead generation, trying to get business, now I can go do all the other things all day long. Who cares? Talk to people in the grocery store.
Yeah, your one thing, right? The important thing,
right? Yeah. And then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Gary's big in that one thing, and it's huge. It makes a lot of sense. And what I heard you say that's powerful in there is you disappointed somebody that you cared about, right? I'll call it like it is. I think she was disappointed in your lack of success, effort. I don't know. You didn't fill the words. I don't want to feed you.
No, you're 100% correct. Now, for me, that's motivating. For some people, it may not be, right? They may be competitive enough to where, I'm just going to get this done because I want to beat Mike. Okay, great. Whatever that motivation is, mine is I don't want to let people down. So I'm going to motivate that way, which is also why accountability works for everybody, because there's always some level of accountability that will work no matter which kind of personality type you are. For me, it's the same thing. I didn't want to let my wife down. I also didn't want to let anybody else down that was holding me accountable to this, right? They're trying to help me. And so nobody does this stuff alone. You can look at this and go, we have a really successful nonprofit, right? And we're expanding nationwide. We're in 5 cities now, in 4 different states. We started as a napkin, in 2016, an idea, and now here we are with 40 plus permanent, full-time staff people, a bunch of volunteers, raising millions of dollars. And it is because of accountability. It wasn't just because we have a good idea. We just executed more than other people did. But that came with all of us holding each other accountable to the things we wanted to accomplish. So nobody ever does this stuff alone. It's always easy to look up at the person at the top of the mountain and go, oh, they did it. They're there. Well, when I get to the top of the mountain, I'm looking and I'm like, crap, there's another one. And you got to get all the way down. Yep. And that's a thing, going all the way down that mountain and then going all the way back up the next one. And then, oh man, there's another one on the other end. So yeah, they say it, it's about the journey. And some of that is true. It's nice to be at the top and looking out, right? Right. Yet you look and you're like, well, and by the way, no one climbs a mountain by themselves. They just don't. There's always a group of people either at home or helping carry your stuff, or a team of people that are doing this. It's not just something you typically do by yourself. And so, the biggest thing I would say is that anybody who's struggling in this, you got to have a system and a process in place for you to do your job. Your job is go get business. That's it. That's your job. It's not selling houses. It's not helping people sell houses. It's not helping people buy houses. It is getting business. Yep. Because then after that, everything else will happen. You're not turning down a listing appointment. You're not saying, no, I'm not going to show houses today. You will do that, but you have to have enough business and talk to enough people to where you have the opportunity to go show houses.
Yeah, that's just like Gary says in his One Thing book, right? What's a doctor's primary job when they first start? Yes, they have to have their medical degree and licensing and all that. But they don't have patience. It ain't going to do them any good, right? They got to be out there generating leads. And
you can be the best surgeon in the world. If no one's coming to your operating room, it doesn't matter. So many agents tend to focus on, and same with VCP, so many agents tend to focus on, I got to learn the contracts, which you do. Know the contracts, it's all stuff you need to know. I got to know how to sell this. I got to know what to say. But it doesn't matter if you don't have any clients. And same with VCP. For us, it was we can talk about housing people all day long, but unless we have an organization and a structure and the houses and all that kind of stuff, we can't do any of those things. We got to raise money. So for us, it was the military piece did kick in, which is, man, just go execute, right? So you've got a mission, go take that hill, go take the hill. Don't let other things happen, man.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in the inch by inch. You don't have to solve the problem tomorrow. It's just one step of progress towards success, solving the problem. I think we put too much emphasis on overnight results in our head when it's really just one. And that's one thing I think the military did a great job of teaching us, that this could be the suckiest thing ever that we're doing. But if we just step it one at a time, eventually we'll get there, right?
Gary Keller talks about, one of the things he mentions is that you overestimate where you can be in 1 year and you underestimate where you can be in 5. So, same thing, just know that in your head. You're like, oh, I'm going to, change the world in a year. I wasn't able to change the world in a year, but here 5 years later, we're in, like I said, 5 cities and 4 states with a charity and, had a successful real estate business, all of those things. Man, you can do that. You're only 5 years away from being where you want to be. The other piece of this for me is, as people approach this from a career standpoint in terms of real estate, is the military adage of mission first, people always really matters to me, right? Like I was telling people when I was in Africa, I was in charge of a large directorate, 80 people. And I told them it was mission first, people always. We have to accomplish the mission. That's why we're here. That's why we wear the uniform. It's what we do. Yet we can't do any of that without people, right? So mission first, people always. That comes with the accountability, taking care of the people around you. All of those things matter. But you got to execute the mission. And in our case, with real estate, it's just finding clients that want to buy or sell. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's wrap up the last couple of minutes around VCP. I know you've kind of touched on that a few times in there. I just want to give, this is a huge opportunity for people around the world to donate to this. And I wouldn't be here having this conversation if, I didn't feel and see the vision that Mark has in this. And I've seen it executed. This isn't a fly by night, like throw us some money and hopefully we'll make it work, right? This is impact. It's ready. It's rolling. So tell some folks a little bit about that and how they can partner with you in that and the rest of your organization.
So like we're housing homeless veterans in tiny houses. The mission it's to say yes to vets. So anybody who ever served, regardless of discharge status. So we don't take any restricted federal funds. So we raise our dollars through the kindness of the community, individuals, companies, things like that. People writing big checks. 500, 600,000 if you want, go ahead, just write it. They have to clear, the checks have to be able to clear. It's basically, we create, the tiny houses are really a joke. They're the tiniest part of what we do. It's really the smallest thing. They're really awesome. They're 240 square feet for our individual units, granite counters, wood floors, tile backsplash. Housing with dignity is what we call it. We also have family units. So families can stay with us. And we have kids that live in our VCP village in Kansas City. We'll also do one here in Colorado. And then South Dakota is starting to build here shortly, and St. Louis as well are the ones that are about to start building. We're also in Oklahoma City. They just haven't started building yet. But the gist is that we house folks, we can put them into housing, and then we have wraparound services. So we have case management at an 8-to-1 ratio, which is different than most social service organizations, unfortunately, are 30, 40, 50 to 1. We're 8 to 1. So there's lots of accountability there. Plus, with a common background of military, we found that our tiny house community, it looks like a subdivision of houses, different roof pitches and front elevations and things like that to make it look like a subdivision. It basically is a barrack style living without the barracks. And so people get to help each other. So if they notice your battle buddy next door, your shipmate in my case, next door is supposed to be at a class at 8 o'clock and it's 7:45 and they haven't left yet, you're going to go knock on the door and say, hey, where are you at? So we treat people with dignity. It's great housing. We also have a walk-in center called our Outreach Center, which is typically nearby in Kansas City. It's just a half a block away. Here in Longmont, it's at Mountain View and Main Street. So kind of down on Main, it's 1228 Main. And basically what it is any veteran, regardless of their not only discharge status, but their circumstances. So you don't have to be homeless to walk into that outreach center. You basically just need something. I could walk in and say, hey, I need my DD-214. I can't find it. Can you help me? Yes. Our case managers will go to work. So we have the walk-in center and then also the housing as well. And out here, just side note real quick, is this thing in Longmont is going to be the first of its kind in the nation, this village we're building. It's going to be 26 tiny houses and a 3,000 square foot community center. On site, what's really cool is it's being built by with help of a developer who's donated the land, so 2+ acres. Sorry if you hear my dog in the background, I apologize. So 2+ acres of land, sewer, water, and electric infrastructure. It's almost a $4 million donation, $3+ million donation that he's made to us to get this village built. We're going to raise money, build the houses and all that. Yet it's also next to a subdivision that this developer is building. So it's going to have condos, townhouses, single family homes, 459 housing units total. Anywhere from, they're trying to keep the houses, the condos in the 200, maybe low 300s, which is affordable around here, all the way to $900,000+ with mountain views. The mountains are 20 minutes away. And with that, homeless people. as part of this community, living as part of it. And so it's the only place in the nation we're doing this. I know other developers looking at it funny, like, is this going to work? Are you going to be able to sell high-end houses with homeless people? And the answer is yes. The developer is all in. And so are we, and it's a great partnership between the city of Longmont's been a huge supporter, the developer, as well as VCP. So it's everybody's kind of helping each other here, and it's just awesome. So
that is super awesome. I was always excited about the opportunity since it was first presented to the Longmont Association of Realtors, and it's just fun to watch. It's back to what you said. Overestimate what you can do in 1 year, underestimate what you can do in 5 years. And that's exactly playing out. It plays out time and time again. Sometimes there's probably some frustrating moments in this process for you guys. It's slow sometimes, but other times it ramps up fast. But you guys, you still keep stepping, right? And it is all going to come together. Obviously, you guys have a proven system because you've done it in Kansas City, right? I mean, it's there, it's functioning, it's operational. Just getting them all built up right now, getting through some of the governmental hoops and things. That's just all part of the process. So, one thing I've always had mad respect for you is you lead from the front, right? And I think that's what officers do naturally anyways, or at least they're trained, in that
the good
capacity.
ones.
Yeah. They're out there swinging the hammers with the rest of the guys and gals, right? And that kind of stuff. And you've always been that guy. So
they don't let me near any of the power tools, just so you know. I'm not really that good, so I won't be swinging hammers, but they let me, again, that face for radio, so they let me do the TV and radio interviews, right? So
I will put Mark's VCP information in the post above. We also will embed that into this video as well. I should probably have that as a banner on here, but we'll make sure we get plenty of clickable links and advertising for that. I'm super excited about that. I'm looking forward to that thing coming to completion as you guys are, and watching it actually work and evolve in the community that we're a part of. So, Mark, thanks so much for your time today, and love you, brother. And
thanks, brother. I appreciate it.
I just want to know, are you wearing pants on video call today?
I do have pants on. Yes, I have pants on. Jeans, as a matter of fact, but I'm wearing a jacket, so.
All right, man. Peace out. Mark Solomon, Edie Waters team, vcp.org. Look them up, connect them, get them some money. Huge opportunity for the homeless veterans in our community. And anyways, thanks a lot, Mark. Appreciate your time, and have a lot of respect for you.
Appreciate it.
All right, see you, bud.
And the dog.